Hello, welcome to the OMO Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we are coming back to our Bruce Lee marathon, getting back to Enter the Dragon here at the, I guess you could pretty much say, the biggest Bruce Lee movie of all time. Shit, it might even be like the biggest Kung Fu movie. I mean, it's like pretty much the gateway. I would have said like in the olden days, it would have been like the gateway to martial arts films, but I guess nowadays it's the gateway to like golden era classic martial arts films now.
Yeah, well, I think you said it a few episodes back when we were doing, because we've been kind of back and forth with the Bruce Lee thing, especially with the wildfires. We were on a little short hiatus, and then the Batman thing just came out, so let's knock that out as well as Deathstroke. But now this right here, we're kind of like, all right, well, might as well continue this and rewatching the movie, rewatching this, and then looking at the documentary, because by that time I finally. Like, literally, the day I got evacuated is the day the fucking Blu-ray came in the mail. And I watched it, but then, like, time to go. Like, really? Shit. Okay, here we go. And so I had to rewatch it again to jog my memory. And, this is, like, not the first Bruce Lee movie I saw. It's the second or third, but I'm gonna say, like, everyone often, like, I feel like a lot of people say this is their favorite or their least favorite. And I feel like if you're saying it's your least favorite, it's just because you're trying to stand out. Because when I was a little younger, it was never my favorite, but it was never my, like, least favorite. And I was just remember, like, thinking, like, well, I feel like everyone says Enter the Dragon, but, like, well, there's a reason everyone says Enter the Dragon. It is probably maybe his second best movie.
Well, you know what it's like? This is a good way to describe it because this movie's kind of in the same caliber anyways, or same style. But it's like Goldfinger for 007. Because, you know, and generally it always feels like Goldfinger's that one that, you know, a lot of people always say that's their favorite one. And I think also if you kind of like were like a 10-year-old boy when Goldfinger would have came out, because I know it's a lot of people like in our dad's age, like the Goldfinger's the fucking high bar 007 movie, you know. And I think it's just that sort of thing. It's just like that movie that's kind of there. You saw it when you were young, you know, and I think that's what Enter the Dragon is to a lot of people. It's like they saw it. The other Bruce Lee movies kind of came in later. You know what I mean? Like Enter the Dragon was just that thing. It was just like to open their eyes to a world they had never seen before. So no matter what, it's always going to stand as that like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I think it's also the one with, like, the biggest budget and probably the most, like, the action's still really cool. And it's a very diverse cast of characters, because I think my favorite, I don't know, I kind of go back and forth on it all the time. It almost changes as the years do, but this has always kind of stayed, like, number, like, 2 or 3 for me, but Enter the Dragon, something I do like about it, it's probably the most diverse cast, because the thing about a lot of his movies is, and I mean diverse cast, not like it's the most politically correct. I mean like that. I mean the most diverse, most diverse cast of characters. Where everything else, it's kind of like Bruce Lee's the badass, and might be one or two villains that kind of stand out, and everybody else is like his friend. Like, can you teach us Chinese boxing? You know.
Yeah, there's always those guys who are just like the goofs or what have you. But yeah, this one definitely has like, well, it's like this one's like this larger than kind of life sort of movie. You know what I mean? You're stacking on all the characters. You're stacking on, you know, not only just the Bruce Lee-ness, but it almost even creates all these other ones. I mean, like, it's literally the start of practically, like, every fighting video game. You know what I mean? You got the diverse characters. You got them coming from all walks of life and whatnot, and they got to show up to this tournament on an island and so on. It's got this really, like, huge feel kind of going for it, where, you know, the other Bruce Lee ones, I guess even I'll just say the first two that come before this, with the Big Boss and Chinese Connection, is those ones are almost kind of like, hey, it takes place on, like, you know, a 4-block radius. You know what I mean? You know, hey, you know, I guess the island's an island, but you know what I mean? This one almost feels like it's a 007 movie, pretty much. You know what I mean? And Bruce Lee's being sent in like Solid Snake to go find Mei Ling, which I forgot about that part. I was like, oh yeah, duh, that's where the Mei Ling thing is. I'm like, she's right in this one.
Yeah, well, it is also one of those things where I guess the time, I mean, right now you hear like 007 kind of inspiration a little bit, a lot, and you just like, all right, well, what do you got to make something, you got to make it stand out or make it different in some way, and more, I think people go more like the Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy approach more anything nowadays than 007, because that's the most reserved for 007, the cool stylishness of it all. But But this one, I can see this is like one of those periods where they're trying things out. Like, all right, let's throw a dash of 007 and make it kind of a kung fu movie. Kung fu movie meets 007. And I can definitely see this movie. I don't really know when it came out, but Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, he's basically a secret agent that knows Kung Fu in Marvel Comics. I can definitely see this being an inspiration for that without a doubt. I mean, Bruce Lee himself, but just the idea of like secret agent, Kung Fu master, of course, 70s.
Yeah, and I think that's just sort of is, 007 movies were at their like biggest they could be, so it's like one of those ones you're gonna take from something, go with the Bond one. It's weird because I don't remember, I didn't put two and two together. I guess the very first time I ever watched this movie a long time ago, that it was like, oh yeah, it's got a 007 vibe to it. But it's just one of those ones like, you got that, even like the score that's playing in the background feels very James Bond like and whatnot, and just having these three guys kind of sneak in, even though I guess Bruce Lee's the only one who's really infiltrating. The other guys have just been invited to the tournament.
I guess that's the thing, is they treat the movie like there's three main characters, though Bruce Lee is the main character. And the three of them are interesting characters in that aspect, but I do feel like Jim Kelly gets kind of like the raw deal, because Rob Saxon, I like his character, but I'm like, of everybody here, I'm pretty sure you'd be the first to die. And I know that you're probably one of the main, aside from Jean-Claude Van Damme, you were probably one of the main inspirations for Johnny Cage, other than, like, as far as the movie goes, at least, Well,
that's definitely true, because John Saxon really is that one that, like...
Is it Rob Saxon or John Saxon?
It's John Saxon.
John Saxon?
His name's Roper, so if you combine them together, you kind of get a Rob.
Yeah, John Saxon, you're right. Okay.
But, like, it is so much, too, because, you watch that, like, and everybody kind of goes to Jean-Claude Van Damme for, like, Johnny Cage, but you're almost kind of like, there's about a 50% character that you're forgetting about, and that's John Saxon that kind of influences Johnny Cage.
Yeah, just because, the whole idea of, like, not being a washed up, not being a washed up film star or anything like that, but the idea of, like, he's the guy who's probably more out of his element than anybody else out of this group of people that come to this tournament. And he's just kind of going with it, and he's a little bit of the smart ass. And he's the guy who comes in with the most luggage, and he's a little bit arrogant.
What does he have in that luggage? He's got, like...
Probably everything he owns. Everything he owns, because he's on the showed That's the only reason he showed up this tournament. He's on the run. He's looking to make some quick money.
Yeah, it's like he's got like 50 suitcases. I love how they're like 50 of the exact same suitcases, too. That's going to be kind of confusing, but... And he's just like sitting on them like he's like a pirate. It's just claimed like booty, you know what I mean? Like,
which one has my passport? Which one has my socks? Fuck.
You know what I mean? It's like 1973. It's like what's he got in that thing? I mean, how many pairs of clothes can one man have?
Yeah. How many bright, vibrant button-ups do you need? Or how many like white tuxedos do you need? So, but no, I mean. The three of them, they are all likable characters. I will say, though, when I first saw this movie, I was a little let down. Jim Kelly died, and I didn't know who Jim Kelly was at the time, but he was an actual karate athlete in karate. I think maybe possibly karate champion. So it's like, okay, the con man who took lessons at the Y made it, but the fucking karate champion didn't.
Well, it's funny because actually John Saxon is also like a black belt, whatever, judo, karate guy too. He doesn't. He doesn't feel like it as much. He feels sort of more like, hey, John, you want to come in and do this kung fu movie and like just take a 3-week course and you'll be able to do it. He does kind of have that feeling, but he is a full-on martial artist.
I can see that for a minute because he does a great job in the movie, but here it's knowing his character. I mean, I wouldn't have, to be honest. I didn't actually know he was a black belt till you just said it. But just the way how his character portrays it and goes, and hearing John Saxon being kind of like saying, God damn it, I didn't know, because he was all into martial arts. He was like, I didn't know there was going to be this much work putting into a martial arts movie, and he was complaining about how many fight scenes they had to do in a martial arts movie. So that's the thing where I'm like, that's the guy that made it? Okay.
Yeah, the guy complaining and whatnot. Well, it's like, the other thing, too, is I think there was, when they originally put it together, the roles of the characters were kind of reversed. Jim Kelly and John Saxon were supposed to be like almost like different. So like Jim Kelly's character actually survived and goes on farther, but then like it was like John Saxon, when like his agents came in, they're like, no, you gotta switch that around. Like he can't die halfway into the movie. So,
well, the way he plays it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying. So that's kind of like John. They're like, yeah, John Saxon's not going to do the movie unless his character gets to make it all the way through. So then they just end up kind of killing Jim Kelly's character halfway through. But it's supposed to be the other way around.
Oh, that explains a lot. Yeah. Well, I can kind of see that shit. I feel bad for Jim Kelly. Maybe Jim Kelly's like, yeah, making a movie was fun, but because he only made a few movies, he was more of a athlete than anything else. But I think he was in a show for a minute, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah. He's like, he has a lot of those big kind of like black exploitation movies / martial arts ones. Right at that time period.
Without going through the whole list or reading down what each one is, whether it be ranging from like a how to kick video to a to a full on roll, I only see 16 credits here. So I think he was more of an athlete than he was an actor, which is fine. But at the same time, you feel bad for him knowing that because he was probably one of my more favorite characters in the movie. I mean, Bruce Lee. I mean, we'll definitely get to Bruce Lee, but I feel like whenever people talk about Enter the Dragon, they always talk about just Bruce Lee. Mm-hmm. And don't worry, we will get there. But I feel like people just like, oh yeah, and Jim Kelly and John Saxon were in it too, by the way.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like the whole point of those two guys was that they were like, well, we're not too sure. It's really a gamble. I mean, we know that the last two Bruce Lee movies made the biggest amount of money that like any movie's ever made, but we're still not too sure. You know what I mean? This is going to be the first time we're going to release this sort of in the U.S. It's not just like hey, by the way, it's midnight. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing at the Grindhouse Drive-In?
Yeah, because there's this guy named Bruce who's on there. He's going to kick and punch people, so
Does he always sound like a cat?
Yeah, well, not in the original dub version.
Well, apparently, I guess I didn't know this, but apparently he didn't do all the crazy cat and like squeal noises in real life when he fought. That was more of his film persona.
I always kind of wonder that. I always felt like that was that sort of thing where this is my other example. I'm going to use like Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Pumping Iron. It was sort of that thing that Arnold was like, oh shit, I got to make myself stand out among everybody else. I'm just going to say a bunch of crazy shit, and I almost felt like that was sort of the Bruce Lee thing. It was like, oh, I got to stand out. Well, I'm just going to make my character look 3 times more crazy than everybody else and loud and and technically, that kind of always works when you sort of go that like extra distance sometimes. I guess it's either going to work or it's just going to make you come burning down like an airplane being shot, with flak and what have you in World War I. So there's two ways it could have gone, but
if you weren't as talented as Bruce Lee, it probably would have blown up in your face.
Yeah.
The fact that if some like yellow belt came in and go wee wah wah, it's like okay, dude, all right, but since he can do it, and who the fuck's gonna tell him what he can and can't do? I mean, just fucking look at him. I mean, now you get people coming up and saying like, oh, dude, Bruce Lee would not make it against this guy or that guy. I'm like, maybe that's true, but sometimes you hear people say like, oh no, like mixed martial artists today, dude, Bruce Lee would totally get fucking slammed by them. Like, all right, well, he probably would have been all for mixed martial arts. He probably, if he was alive longer, he probably would have been like a big supporter of UFC or MMA or something like that, because that's what Jeet Kune Do is, the early steps of that shit. So whenever I hear like some like had some guy at work saying like, oh man, this one like MMA fighter would totally knock out Bruce Lee, like maybe he would, but if Bruce Lee actually, I think I could see him building up to MMA and all that kind of shit as time went on, because he liked the movement and the philosophy behind martial arts, but his whole thing was he didn't want to be restricted by just movement and tradition.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted the whole thing is that, each person's martial art is going to be different from the next, and you got to kind of learn it based on your own body and what have you. So
That's how Jeet Kune Do is all about.
And it's almost kind of stupid to take somebody almost from the future and be like, well, this guy's better. Well, why? Because he had all this extra education built over time that, like, Bruce Lee, didn't have. And here's the thing, Bruce Lee's also, he's working through all this stuff. He can't just go out and just pick up, every single book, that someone's written the last, like, 80 years and be like, let me just learn it all right now. You know what I mean? Like, he has to, like, sort of figure this out. Like, so it is kind of, you know what I mean? It's almost like saying the guy who's got, like, all these, extra training and so on and all this stuff and, is able to super kind of, like, it's almost like saying a guy in the fucking Matrix who pretty much has just injected himself with all the knowledge is going to be better than the guy who had to, like, learn it all from scratch.
And to be fair, it's like, I'm not saying that Bruce Lee's undefeatable. Of course, there's somebody out there who might have or could possibly beat Bruce Lee. It's just one of those things when you hear people, like, suddenly now, it's like anything. Like, we jump like 40 years into the future. Suddenly, then we start, or even like probably less than that, criticizing. I remember there's this like little bit of a popular thing it was to like try to debunk and discredit Bruce Lee that happened like maybe 20, not what the fuck did I say 20? Like happened like, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago. Like that dumb fuck Steven Crowder was trying to like do a video, try and bring down Bruce Lee. Like, did he ever really win any real matches or any fights? Here's the only one known one. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up, you troll.
Well, yeah, it's like one of those ones like, well, you hear all the stories anyways from like, you know, Bruce Lee back in China and whatnot, and they're like, dude, he would win fights all the time. I remember like one of the guys who was like a trainer with him when they were in like Ip Man's class and whatnot. He had, it's on like one of the special features I think on that disc, and he was talking about, he's like, oh yeah, dude, he's like, dude, Bruce Lee never lost any kind of fight. You know what I mean? But he also put in 10 times more work than every single other person, too. I also like, because he almost felt like he did, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger things, too, where, like, he would dick with people. But, like, when people would come to class, Bruce Lee realized he wasn't getting good enough instructions from Ip Man if he was, like, if there was other people there. So he would go down the stairs and be like, oh, dude, sorry, man. They canceled class. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know it sucks, guys. Well, I'll see you next week. Or whatever. And then he'd go on. And he'd have his one-on-one lesson.
I can see Bruce Lee doing that, and I'm not saying Bruce Lee was perfect in every single way possible.
There's nothing
no
wrong
way.
with that, too. I mean, like,
yeah.
that's literally just more taking advantage of, like, oh, you know what? I need to get more out of this. I bet you, man, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, is nobody signing up? Like, I put all these flyers out, you know what I mean? Did nobody read them? Who's tearing down my flyers?
Bruce just like, I don't know, just jamming some papers behind his pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Just one of those ones where like,
shit's
like,
weird, boss. I don't know what to tell you.
Man's going around, he's like stapling up flyers, and so on. Bruce comes up from behind, fucking takes him down every single time. Like one of those almost like a slapsticky comic ones. Where he's like, I just put that flyer up. Where did it go?
He puts a flyer like on a telephone pole. There's a technician working there. As soon as he walks on the next one, he turns around. Down. He's in his disguise from like Fist of Fury with the glasses and all that shit. Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those kind of things, and so on. So I don't know. I feel like it's one of those ones. It's sort of like there's that kind of thing that happens no matter what. I mean. It can happen in anything where, like, when somebody kind of gets to, like, that huge level, it's really easy to kind of be like, not that good, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's the same thing people will say about, like, even something like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Be like, yeah, but there's these other bodybuilders that went so much farther. I'm like, yeah, but they stacked on top of what Arnold Schwarzenegger already did, you know what I mean? Like, why do you guys, you know what I mean? Like, why do you always kind of bring things down, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's also that one, too, that, like, there's some people, too, that, like, you know, like Jackie Chan. I bet you Jackie Chan, as much as he's, like, admired Bruce Lee, he also probably has that thing where he's just, like, there was, like, that 10-year period where everybody told me, be Bruce Lee, be Bruce Lee, be Bruce Lee. And it's probably got to that point where it's like, fuck it, I don't want to be Bruce Lee. It's the last fucking thing I want to do. I want to be Jackie Chan.
Exactly, yeah. There's got to be that thing where I don't know how he feels about him by this point. I'm sure he has respect for him, but at the same time, it's probably one of those things where he's so, like, jammed down his throat. Like I was already in 2 or 3 movies with him, and you know I was never a big guy in the movie. But at the same time, like I mean, there's a story here about him getting like he takes a big fall. That's I think in is he also in Enter the Dragon somewhere? Is he also in Enter the Dragon?
He is. I know the one scene I can stick that's where he is in it because he's got a mustache in Enter the Dragon. Mm-hmm. But it's like at the kind of when Bruce Lee's by the elevator fighting those guys off kind of towards the end, the guy he grabs by the hair and holds back and then kicks about 2 other guys and then snaps his neck. That's that's Jackie Chan.
Really? Okay. Well, Jackie, right there. There's like some movie he took a big fall, and apparently Bruce Lee was the first one to run over to him and see if he was okay. Yeah. So, but at the same time, I can imagine just after years of like, dude, be Jackie Chan, be Bruce Lee. He's like, fuck off, and then that's where he's just like, look at my face, like you said, look at my face. I'm not as pretty as Bruce Lee. I gotta be the funny guy. And, you know, it's like, I'll be honest. I think that as much as I love Bruce Lee, I'd like to see like if there's like a fighting game. If there's like a fighting game, a lot of the times like there's the Bruce Lee character. Like, well, that's to be expected, and you know, Fei Long's cool, but I always liked that Jackie Chan character in Tekken. I forgot his name right now, but
Lei.
Yeah, Lei. Yeah, the Jackie Chan character. So I always thought he was cool because I don't think that enough people really acknowledge Jackie Chan by this point.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird because that's like pretty much any fighting game is guaranteed to have a Bruce Lee character, at least at some point. There's going to be one. But Tekken's the only one I can think of that really has like a Jackie Chan one. And I like how they do a combo. It's like he's like a mix of like multiple Jackie Chan movies, but you could almost say it's a main mix between like Police Story Jackie Chan and Drunken Master one. I think that's just kind of a neat kind of like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And going back to we were talking about before we led on to leave Bruce Lee alone. Before we led on to that, we were talking about like the craziness thing with Bruce Lee. This is a movie where I feel like he's usually playing two characters. He's usually playing like a guy tossed into a situation who just happens to be really skilled and he's trying to hold back. Mm-hmm. And that's, say, something like Way of the Dragon or Big Boss. And then you get something like Fist of Fury, and that's where he's just like ready to explode and snap a neck at any moment. Where this right here, it's more of like he's reserved, but when you piss him off, like I feel like he's reserved, but when he unleashes it, it's full force. Because he looks like he enjoys snapping Jackie Chan's neck.
Yeah, exactly. There is. It's almost that one where, compared to the first two movies, this one is definitely like toned down like a bit. You know what I mean? Because I know this is one of those movies that like this one wasn't as big as the first two in China because they're like not enough martial arts in it. You know, and granted, like, you know, you do compare them together, it is kind of like, because it plays out, I guess you would say, like an American action movie that just happens to have martial arts in it, you know. Not saying that's really a bad thing, but it's like, you know, this is just that ultimate gateway movie, and everybody putting it together, they knew that they had to make it that kind of style that, like, you know, if you had it too Chinese, I guess it might be like, you know, it might look like it's, oh, that fits in at the midnight cinema where you go watch foreign films, you know. You know, they're going to mix match a French movie with a Chinese movie. It doesn't make any sense, but it just happens.
Well, there's also sometimes those things where, I don't know what it is exactly, but like a producer doesn't realize, like, well, maybe there is an appeal for this thing if you give it a chance. Now, that's kind of what this is, but the reason why, because the thing about a lot of Bruce Lee movies is they were raw street fights or raw brawls, like life or death situations. And this movie does have life or death situations, but it comes in a few moments. A good handful of the fights in this movie are proper tournaments, like what maybe Americans might occasionally see on television. So that's what they're trying to make it look more like, and that didn't appeal to the Chinese audience as much. They wanted more of the raw shit, which this movie does have some of the raw shit, but it also has a lot of like those moments where it's just like, all right, we're all hanging out here in a gravel field, and we're gonna have that very proper like Olympic style match, you know. And those aren't always as interesting, you know, but it's still a fun movie regardless.
Oh, yeah. And I think also you could probably see, like, in China, because, like, once you sort of got those first couple Jackie Chan movies, or not Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee movies coming out, it was one of those ones where, like, there was a shift. It was almost like once you got that kind of raw, it's kind of modern, there's street fights, it was like the shift from, like, the Shaw Brothers kind of, like, classical, you know, old-timey, you know, your fucking dad's kung fu movie is pretty much what it was. Like, we want that raw shit, man. It's the fucking 60s going in 70s, like... You know what I mean? Like, and I felt like you could probably see how like a Chinese kid would watch this movie and be like, seems like something my dad would be into.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're back to old timey stuff, but like, once again, like that's the whole point is like a worldwide kind of let's get everybody involved sort of thing. And I think that's almost like one thing that's kind of neat about it is I like how when you go to the island and whatnot there, is that you know, Hans Island, is that everything there is kind of like, it reminds me of like, you know, it might be kind of like one of those ones where it seems like a mixed match of like, you just go and ask people on the street in America, be like, hey, what do you know about Asia? And then they would just tell you, like, not knowing the differences between everything. But I kind of like how it almost reminds me of an island where this guy has grabbed everything he likes from like China, Japan, Thailand, the Philippines, and kind of like brought it all together. You know what I mean? Because like even the martial arts itself, you know what I mean? It's almost like a mixed match between kung fu and karate and everything like that. I mean, most guys are in gis, so it has more of like that. So I mean, it's one of those movies like you could see as like somebody from the future being like, well, this seems a little bit confusing. It's like there's a Chinese guy and he's got, you know,
sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, sumo wrestlers going on, and you know everybody's in gis, you know, doing, you know, karate, though it's supposed to be kung fu, but like I kind of like the mix match of it. It almost just reminds me almost like that thing, like a guy who's traveled all over, gained all this different knowledge and wealth and so on, and has brought sort of like what he likes together. And everybody he's training, it's like a mix match between that. You know, there's even that part where like when they're supposed to go out for like the tournament and whatnot, and the guy's like, "Put your uniform on," and you know Bruce Lee's of course in his Chinese outfit. He's like, "Fuck, I'm not wearing a gi."
I can actually see maybe that being a real thing that happened, like with the movie. Like, all right, we got your Japanese gi for you. He's like, no, it ain't happening. I can see that possibly happening, and they just like, oh, let's just write that into the script. That's actually a good idea, you know. And plus, it makes him stand out among all these guys dressed in white and few yellow. It's just, you know, one dude dressed like in black, maybe a white shirt and some black pants. A few scenes. I will say though, maybe it's just because I watched a couple of, by coincidence, a little before watching this, I watched Slapshots and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So I guess I was getting kind of like, so I was just kind of in a Paul Newman mood for some reason. And
while eating Newman's Own.
While what?
While eating Newman's Own.
Possibly. I might have actually. Yeah, I actually fucking might have. I think I have that. I think I have some of his marinara some of his marinara sauce. So yeah, possibly. Yeah. Robert Saxon was giving me kind of like, I'm not saying this to be a dick, but kind of like poor man Paul Newman vibes for this movie, just because, you know, the way how he carries himself in both Butch Cassidy and Slapshots, where he seems kind of like a con man who is basically trying to just, he's smooth, but that's all he really is. He's just smooth. He's just kind of trying to get through it all, you know, because in Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, I mean, you're like, oh, this must be a badass outlaw. You're like, he's never fired a gun before? What? You know, and then in Slapshots, he's a fast talker, but his team is losing. Like, all right, well, I guess we got to start, you know, playing rough or going against the rules in order to make us get by. So I was kind of getting a little bit of that with John Saxon's character Roper, just because he has a little bit more of like that dry wittiness to him. Plus, he's kind of like that, got that early gray hair happening.
Yeah, no, I definitely could see that too. Like even kind of a bit of like a Steve McQueen-ness as well too. I mean, I really do feel Enter the Dragon has that thing where they're like, they just kind of take like, what's the best ideas out there? You know, 007 movies are good. You know what I mean? We got some Paul Newman kind of acting in here. We'll throw the Bruce Lee martial arts. Like, it almost felt like you kind of take different pieces, almost like Tarantino style. You take different pieces, and then you sort of combine it all together, and then it becomes sort of its own thing.
I honestly think you could have had this movie go by. I mean, I guess they want to have some stake to it and have John Saxon and Jim Kelly survive. Like, I don't think nobody in the movie really had to die, but I guess they just want to give it some stake. Aside from Bruce Lee dying too early, I think it would have been really interesting to see, because they said they planned on sequels for this. So it would have been interesting to see, because that was just an interesting trio they had there, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that trio, you could almost carry that on for like all kinds of movies. You know what I mean? I just think that is a very neat one right there. All three of those guys are awesome. I also have to say though, this is the part I always think about when I watch this movie. Okay, you know when like everybody goes to their room and whatnot, and then Jim Kelly goes to his room. Did Han just say like, hey, make sure you got a bunch of Jimi Hendrix posters up there, some Black Power, you know what I mean? Like, make him feel
at home.
Yeah, I just think about that. Because you know that Jim Kelly probably went to ask John Saxon and be like, hey, by the way, did you guys have a bunch of, like, Jimi Hendrix posters in your room? Like, no, I had a Willie Nelson one in mine.
I had a Willie Nelson ones, a little bit of Frank Sinatra. I guess he wasn't sure what I'd land on, but hey, they're both white.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's like, you put a Charlie Chan
poster up in mine. John Saxon also had like a big giant loaf of white bread in there too, with a lot of like, I can't believe it's not butter.
It's like, yeah, it's just like one of those ones. Like, I thought this was a little on the nose. I didn't know if it was more of a joke or if he was just being a dick.
Well, going back to the part when they all go to their rooms and that I forgot her name, but the lady's going by there handing all like the like, choose one you'd like, and then like Jim Kelly like chooses like 4 or 5 girls. So I gotta conserve my strength. Like, oh, of course. By the time they get to the last two or three guys, like, we're all out. Here's a bowl of trail mix.
And here's one of the boys. He cleans the restrooms, but he's soft and cuddly.
Look at those lips. They're big and puffy. Come on.
So here, take the boy. I mean, it's my own son, so I kind of, how Han is.
He's an intern, so you're like, what? Don't worry, we'll give you extra college credits. Just go.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, those ones. It's like that thing where it's like Jim Kelly, like, I should have specified. Pick only one. We have more guests here. Well, okay.
Yeah, I think by that point, that lady's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Maybe get that girl that's down in the basement, stand there, giving the Manchurian Candidate look in the glass jar thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit. I didn't want to go to the guy.
She's not going to complain by this point.
I didn't really want to go to the guy off the scar anyways. He didn't look too friendly, so I'll just act like there never was any of this.
Robert Wall's character, O'Hara, just looks like... His voice does not match the way he looks. He's like, you need to be seen outside. You just like to see this giant Irish man, bearded with a scar on his face, like, hey kids, class starts in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the part too, because it's like, this is the guy that went and fucking killed, like, Bruce Lee's sister. Or actually, technically, I guess she kills herself, but still, he's going after her and whatnot, and that's almost like the whole reason why Bruce will go on this, undercover, like, Metal Gear Solid, like, mission.
Here's a question, though, because his master's the one, like, you never heard from your sister. Let me tell you what happened. And then they're just like, well, you see, it started when I slashed that guy's face because they tried to corner us. I'm like, you're just now telling me this. I mean, because I guess we're not given a real, like, maybe he just got back from some, like, like, journey or something. But the thing is, he just sits down and tells him this. It's like, why don't you tell me this sooner? I don't know, like, Cheers came on.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just like...
Kelly's Heroes, not Cheers, it's the 7th.
I got an early screening.
You know how hard that is to get in Hong Kong or Shanghai?
But yeah, it's like one of those ones, like, yeah, it's like one of those ones like, whoa. But I mean, it's granted, I think it's like, that's just kind of how it happened. Just the way he brings it up. Oh yeah, by the way, your sister, she died, throwing punches.
Yeah.
Killed herself.
After she stabbed herself painfully with a shard of glass.
Oh,
I wonder what I've already kind of in spoiler territory beyond that, but there's a lady who I guess they were trying to pitch as the leading lady of the film, even though she does nothing but fuck John Saxon and like, hey, here's some more women for you. She just dies off screen, laying in a corner with a look of distraught. Like, when you just, like, there are a lot of people that, oh shit, that's her. Well, that's kind of sad.
That lady, like, in the special features or whatever, she was all like, I was the star of that movie, and it's just like, bitch, you were the star? Like, if anything, Bruce Lee's fucking sister was the female star in that.
Well, I'm the leading lady. Well, You're not really leading lady. Well, I was the white lady, so therefore, like, generation gap, there it goes.
Yeah.
And I was just taking a break from acting, and they said, well, you want to be in a movie? Like, sure. Like, well, you have to leave tonight. I'm like, oh, well, okay then. Off for an adventure for me.
Yeah, I just remember just, like, when she pulled that card, like, oh, I was the leading lady. Like, what, because you showed your tits first? Like, what was your distinct thing that made you the leading lady? Like, you know what I mean? Shit, you probably had just as many lines as fucking Bruce Lee's sister character.
There's Bruce Lee's sister, and then there's Mei Ling, who is the lady that was already there. But she did a little bit. I would have liked to see. I imagine maybe if the sequel did happen, Mei Ling maybe would have done a little, like, would have seen her more. She lived. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I think Mei Ling lived, yeah. So there you go. Mei Ling
did, because that's how I would picture. I'd picture the sequel, because that's, like, the only thing it's sort of missing. I mean, it has the female character, I guess, of Bruce Lee's sister, but, like, not as, like, I guess, a continuing main character because she dies off. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's the only thing you sort of need. Is you need that. And then you'd have, like, the anime, like, quad pack, with all these characters here. And that would have been it would have been cool just to see more kind of movies like that and so on. I mean, I guess realistically, like, we look for those kind of movies as far as video games go, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and so on. I feel that carries on the spirit of this.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because this is kind of like the layout for, I'm not going to say every martial arts tournament movie, but it happens from time to time. It seems to the layout like if you have not a fighting game, but a fighting game movie, they just say, let's pull from Enter the Dragon. Now, Mortal Kombat makes sense because he's the guy who made Mortal Kombat. He pulled from like all his favorite martial arts movies. So if you're gonna make a movie and find a plot device to bring all these characters together into the same place, Enter the Dragon inspired movie, like in NetherRealm or whatever, makes sense. But after a while, they all start doing it.
Because Dead or Alive does it, Tekken does it.
Even the Tekken animated movie does it.
Mm-hmm.
And they throw let's throw Raptors in there.
Yeah, well, that's always the weird thing about Tekken is because Tekken has that thing where it's like it's very serious and realistic, and then there's a bear and a raptor. Oh, what? Yeah,
and a panda and also a kangaroo.
Yeah, exactly. The kangaroo is the more realistic of them all, I guess. But that, and then there's Yoshimitsu. Who? The guy from Soul Calibur.
Well, the thing about the anime movie is it actually feels like it's trying to be the live-action movie because it's trying to find excuses for certain people there. Because, I want to say, there was a Dr. Sadler character, and I want to say he was a playable character in at least Tekken 3, and I want to say he had kind of like a drunken master kind of style or something like that. He was just the doctor in the movie. There was, Roger the kangaroo was there, but he was just kind of like, that's a test subject we keep in the corner there, and then you also had, there are characters that are just there for a minute. See, they're there, kind of like the thing like a lot of these old video game movies would do. And I know we're talking about that now, but I'm just noticing certain connections. And so how do we get Raptors into it? Jurassic Park's popular, so just release them, we'll do that whole thing.
Well, it sounds weird, but Enter the Dragon is almost like one of the most video game movies kind of ever made before really video games when you think about it. It really sets up so much of everything kind of fighting game just kind of in it. It has the characters because you think about a lot of martial arts movies kind of before Enter the Dragon, they have that sort of thing where there's maybe the main character and the villain, but beyond that the rest of the characters are almost just regular, guys in a school fucking training, you know what I mean? Where this one literally has these all feel like if this was a fighting game, you'd be like, oh yeah, I could see these characters all being it. You got Bruce Lee, you got Jim Kelly, you got John Saxon. They're all unique enough. You could see that. You got the guy Robert Wall, the Scar. Of course you got Bolo. We haven't even mentioned him, who was Mr. Chinese Universe.
And then you also had Han, who's a dude with a metal hand.
Yeah, and then you could really, if you were making a video game out of this, you would pull Bruce Lee's sister character in there. You know what I mean?
And then Mei Ling. So this movie does probably have enough characters that punch to have a fighting game roster, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to have the blonde chick in there too, because she'd be like, "I'm the leading lady. I need a leading character." But you stood on the guy's back. That will be my martial arts style.
She wasn't bad in the movie.
No,
here's the only thing about it.
I think it's those minor comments that someone kind of makes that beyond that comment that was kind of it. But when I heard that one comment being like, "I'm the leading lady," you just almost felt like you fucking full of yourself.
That
just maybe
to even it out. You just throw in one of the goons from the background and toss them in there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. There's that, and then you could even have that one. There's that one Australian guy who's I love when this guy appears because there's this boy carrying a thing of rice or something like that, some grain of some kind, and he just steps out. Looks like he comes out the fucking restroom on this ship, and then just kicks that guy's fucking basket for no fucking reason. Just be all from Australia.
Even though I know he's from Australia because I saw that part in the documentary on the Blu-ray, in the movie I didn't pick up the Australianness. It sounded more of listen here, we'll get on this boat over here, all right? We're gonna go over that island. We're gonna go to a good old boxing match. How's that sound, huh, boy?
Yeah, because it's a weird. It's it's an Australian accent, but then it has that weird vaudeville.
He's trying to hide it or something.
Yeah, and I just because that's a great Bruce Lee scene where Bruce Lee is I do the art of fighting without fighting. Well, that sounds fucking stupid. Here, let me show you how to fucking fight, boy. Oh, okay, we'll get in this boat. Yeah, that sounds right. Let me get in the boat.
John Saxon gets to knock that guy around when we actually get back to the real island and all that. So, but even that whole part, like that seems kind of like if this was, let's just hypothetically say this was based on a fighting game. Mm-hmm. That seems kind of like, all right, here's what we do with like the TJ character or the T-Hawk character, something kind of like that,
Or he's almost sort of like a Dan, I guess you could almost say, except for that guy seems a little bit more skilled than Dan, but he's just
character-wise, I guess he would be fit as a Dan, but I could just see at that time just taking, like, well, let's just throw this character in there. Like, I don't know who it was, but there's the one character in the Mortal Kombat movie who, he's a good guy, they shake hands, he's a nice, likable guy, and then we don't even see him fight. We just see 3 guys get knocked down, implying he's a good fighter, and then Goro comes like, you're fucked!
Is that Jax that gets? No.
It's not Jax. It was a black dude, but it wasn't Jax. But there seems like those characters.
Well, I also want to say, like at that Mortal Kombat time period, I think there only is one black guy.
Unless he's a character made for the movie. I thought that he was a. Now I'm going to look this up. Talk more about Into the Dragon. I
guess it's just been a while since I've seen that. Like I could sort of picture these scenes meshed together, but I'm trying to think of exactly which character that is. Because at that time period, it's kind of like. Even though Mortal Kombat came out around, like, right as Mortal Kombat 3 was coming out, it really just has Mortal Kombat 1 and, like, a couple 2 characters in it. Like, it's got, like, Kitana and, not Scorpion. Well, I guess technically, Reptile is in the first one. He's just the unlockable character.
I'm trying to figure... Oh, you know what? Maybe it was Jax, or... I don't see...
Because I want to say I remember Jax kind of getting taken out right off the bat.
Maybe it was Jax, and then he was just alive in the next movie for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know my Mortal Kombat
I might be getting this confused with the new animated movie that was out there, and my brain does the thing where it combines animation and live action together, so it seems fluidly the same. But does he get his arms ripped off, and then that's how he gets his metal arms later? I
don't think so. Maybe he got broken, but
yeah, because I was saying that I think that happened in the animated one, and now I'm putting it all together.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I don't know. I see Gregory McKay as Jax, Sonya's special force partner. Steve James was originally cast, but died from cancer. Okay, yeah, before I had a chance to film at the age of 41. Yeah, I don't know where this guy was. Maybe he was a made-up character just for the movie. I thought he was a playable character for some reason. But yeah, they would do that in movies, though, every so often, based on... It's X-Men movies, or a lot of the earlier X-Men movies do it, like, there's Darwin for a second, and he dies,
Yeah, exactly. Or even, like, they do the thing that's like, well, that's Jubilee. Who? Well, that little Asian girl in the back of the class. Oh,
cool, I guess.
You mean, like, any of these other Asian people that, yeah... Are you just lying to me, and just because you got an Asian actor in the back of class, and you just want to say that there's more characters than there really... No, that's Jubilee. Yep, Jubilee.
That kid that teleported playing basketball, that might be Nightcrawler, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but well...
Then eventually we got Nightcrawler, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Then we got, like, super... Because you think about, like... We're getting way off topic. I was just saying, like, that Nightcrawler was, like, the most dialed-in X-Men character at the very beginning when, like, they were kind of all simplified.
Oh, but, yeah, definitely. But going back to this, though.
Yeah, back to Enter the Dragon. You know what I mean? Like, it is just one of those ones, like, this whole way through, you just get those, like, prime setups for, like... That's why I feel like it is such, like, a great, like, gateway movie that, like, if somebody... Like, if you almost had, like, a 10-year-old, like, boy, or I guess girl nowadays, you know what I mean? But, like, this movie's a very man movie, I guess. It's, like, totally like that... Remember when they used to have that thing, like, that was called, like, the bromance section?
It would be like Fight Club, Reservoir Dogs, Die Hard.
Yeah, it just literally remind me of a section. Be like, hey, you know what? The chicks are gone. Time to get the dicks out. Watch a movie together. It's okay.
It's gonna be Die Hard, Fight Club, Reservoir Dogs, Mortal Kombat, 50 First Dates. What was the last one? 50 First Dates. It's Adam Sandler. That guy is fucking funny.
Yeah, shit. What, you don't like fucking Adam Sandler? Well, I'm one of those people that only likes Adam Sandler from the 90s. Fuck you. Shit. Get the fuck out of the bromance section. Don't get your dick sucked tonight.
Why don't we? I mean, I'm fine with Adam Sandler. Why don't you just put on like Happy Gilmore or something like that? Something that seems a little more like guy-centric. What, you don't like Drew Barrymore either? What?
Yeah. Okay, she's like the most manliest man out there. Like, what, you got a fucking problem with her?
She went to fucking Juilliard!
Shit, haven't you ever seen fucking Charlie's Angels? She knows how to throw a fucking punch and a kick. That fucking Final Fantasy VIII scene's fucking confusing, but like, we'll just let that pass.
Did she go to Juilliard? I don't remember. I think she's one of those like highly trained actresses, or at least she comes from a lineage of actors.
She comes from 600 years of acting. I like how it goes back like super fucking far. Like, in the 1400s, she had a relative acting.
Back in the cave days, there's the monkey that would be trying to explain what happened out in the hunting field that day.
Yeah, he'd just be brought along and be like, okay, well, he's not really here for the hunt. He's supposed to be here. He records it in his brain. He puts together a movie for our kids later when we get back.
And just reacts to it when we all get around the fire and we're like banging rocks together.
He's like the wartime photographer, but before a camera or writing utensils or any of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He's just kind of there, like in the action, be like, it's a dangerous fucking job. We're gonna take down this woolly mammoth tonight, but we want you to record it, and bring back the stories.
When we're done, like just draw it on the wall, smear it with your shit. Yeah.
Yeah. That looks like the Earth, I guess. Oh God.
Anyway, back to this though. This would be the man collection though. This thing.
It really is. You know what I mean? Because it just is one of those ones like, yeah, there's something just so badass about it. And really, the other character I think that is just totally awesome though is fucking Bolo, who I think other people always think of him from Bloodsport, because it's more like Double Impact. You know what I mean? But this movie, it's like, oh yeah, he's in this one too, and he fucking kicks ass and whatnot. He's just always that guy. You see him when he pops up, you're like, holy fuck, that guy's huge. I remember one time, it sounds so weird because I think the guy's actually Chinese, but there was a meme or something that said Koreans in the, I think it might have said 80s though, but it said Koreans in the 80s, and it showed a picture of him just fucking jacked with the fucking bandana on from Bloodsport, and there was Koreans now, and it just showed this K-pop guy that you couldn't even tell. It could be a guy, gal, you're not too sure, just as feminine as possible. I just love it. Koreans in the 80s.
It looks just like the Chinese Bane, just like...
God, this guy would have made such a sick Bane. Granted, that would have been a little bit well, no, if they would have done Bane 1993, right when Bane came out.
The year he came out, yeah.
This guy could have probably, he could have even probably done it, even if they did a little bit like fucking Batman and Robin's Bane.
It was too new, and people didn't give a shit about comics. You didn't have to stay true to the ethnicity by this point.
Yeah, exactly. But that guy just has such a great fucking build. It's weird because it's you just don't see any other Asian guy out there like that. There's very few guys that just have what was he fucking eating that nobody else was eating? That's what I always wondered.
He was probably one of those guys. He's I'm gonna have a salad, and just goes eats a whole tree.
Yeah, just eats another student. I will absorb his power.
Some crazy shit like that. No, that dude. Well, I'll say this. I feel bad. Granted, the guy wasn't good enough. There's the very first fight where of the movie when Bruce and the other guy have the black punching pads as well as a little black Speedo thing. That guy I felt so bad for because I'm not sure what it was. The guy was in good enough shape to he was kind of like that husky kind of build. You could see he worked out, but he wasn't Bruce Lee defined. So that guy's I'm this flabby mess who has to fight a fucking god man like Bruce Lee. It's Bruce Lee's jacked and okay, I gotta do a backflip at some point. That's kind of cool. But then Bruce Lee's I'm gonna do 3 fucking backflips and fucking break your fucking arm. Okay. I see that being hey man, you want to do a scene with Bruce Lee? I can do a scene with Bruce Lee? Yeah, come on in. Just put the gloves on. Oh, we're doing this shit. We're just, oh, fuck.
Take your shirt off. Well, that's Sammo Hung. He's also in the last 2 Bruce Lee ones, because he's always kind of the guy who's giving Bruce Lee advice, it seems in those first 2 movies. So that's almost hey, because it's it's Bruce Lee's buddy. Come over here. But it's I don't think he realized, what kind of scene Bruce Lee wanted to set up for him.
I thought he looked familiar. He's, because that's the thing. You don't have as many of them in this movie just because they're, you don't have as many of them in this movie because they're like it's not a Chinese made film. But Sammo Hung.
He's the guy in like the Big Boss who like when Bruce Lee first shows up, he's like, "Hey, come on in. These are your brothers and sisters." Blah 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 blah. You know, and then the second that Bruce Lee goes to the party, he's like, "Yeah, Mr. Big Shot, huh?"
Yeah. So he's also is he also the guy that's talking shit in like Way of the Dragon? Then okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that
because he's the guy at first. He's like, "Oh, you know, karate is so much better than kung fu," and then the second that Bruce Lee does kung fu, he's like, "Fuck that karate shit."
Gotcha. Okay, I know him more from that, and I remember before wondering if that was him, but now, all right, cool. I just know that like, because that was the thing, because that dude, he would always be. Let's see, I'm sure he might. I know him mainly from Way of the Dragon, just because, or Return of the Dragon, because that's just because. That's where he probably stands out the most, other than being kind of like in Fist of Fury, where he's just like, I'm the smart one.
Yes, good. Yeah, he is, but I think he's in just about every single one of them, and but yeah, he's in that beginning fight scene, and that's the thing. I almost feel like that was the same problem that like Chuck Norris had. Like Chuck Norris was like, "Hey Bruce, well, you know, before the fight scene, what do you think I should do? To kind of get in shape?" Well, let's see, Chuck. How about you eat 3 tubs of ice cream a day? Oh, really? Is that your secret? Yeah. That is definitely my secret. Okay, I'm eating ice cream right now. Good old Chuck Norris. I'm gonna be real ripped when I get there.
Bruce Lee's just doing push-ups every time he goes down. He eats a piece of broccoli or asparagus and just keeps going. Like, that's his breakfast routine.
Yeah, exactly. Those ones. Well, it's in one of those special features, like, they kind of, like, brought up, they're like, oh, yeah, it's like Bruce Lee would train for 3 hours a day. He would go for an hour, or he would run for an hour, like, in the morning, you know, do his martial arts, and then do his weightlifting.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and it was doing the thing. It was like
it
was saying, it's like, well, Bruce Lee was doing so much reading, and he realized it was the reading was getting in the way of his like working out. He needed to work out a little bit more, so he upped the ante.
I can definitely see that. Well, also Bruce Lee, just like every so often, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like in the healthiest shape, but I'm not like in the worst shape either. But there are times where, like, you know what, maybe I can get, like, this cut or this trim, or maybe I can make this kind of happen over here if I pick up bike riding again or X, Y, or Z. And then I'll look at Bruce Lee, I'm like, well, I'll never be that, so yeah. Fuck it. Give me that bag of Doritos.
Yeah, it's like one of those ones. It's that weird thing, too, if you work out enough. I remember there's some, like, bodybuilder that said, like, you know, if I work out for 6 hours a day and I can eat anything I want, you know.
Back in like early college and high school, yeah. Or like that was my thought process. Like back in high school and college, like, all right, well, if I work out or jog a mile or something, I can have all the Slurpees and fucking Slim Jims I want and have no repercussions. No, that doesn't last forever.
You also realize that exercise did not amount to the fucking Slurpee that you just got.
Well, there be those times where you think that, you know. I remember there's a point where when I was younger, I was just like, oh yeah, I can keep this weight off as long as I, you know, go jog for an hour and then go do some push-ups, and I can just keep that shit off. Like, oh, it's not so much I'm so good at being in shape, it's a young person thing. Oh, okay.
Well, and I think also too, like, it's also it's a metabolism thing. I think also has a big deal to do with it, like, because people always want to say the youth thing, and I think there's a little bit that there too, but like. It's like keeping that metabolism going. It's like keeping a fire kind of going. Science, as you get kind of older, you kind of get a little bit lazy about it. Being like, well, maybe I'll save some of this wood for later on, you know? And then you realize, like, oh, that wood's kind of stacking up. I guess I need to burn some of this boy. You know, because sometimes I'll get that point where I just felt like, oh, I've been sitting for, like, a long time. I better get up and start moving somewhere. You become one with the computer, like you form into it, like some kind of, like, alien monster from, like, you get a double chin, you grow a neck beard out of nowhere before you have a real beard come in. Yeah, suddenly you have a fedora. Like, oh, what happened to me? Yeah, just like, oh, my wrist starts to hurt too. I better get a brace for it. And then you watch a Bruce Lee movie and feel like a piece of shit. Yeah, and then you make sure. I don't know. Like, to me, it's like Bruce Lee and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like those are like the two like definitive. I feel like. Fitness people kind of almost ever. I mean, there's other people that, you know, you could put in like around that category, but I feel like it's at the end of the day, like for most people, like, or at least most dudes, it's kind of like you either want that Bruce Lee, like that ripped athletic, you're like a fucking whip type body, or you kind of want that larger than life Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of like size. You know what I mean? Like those two guys, I feel like define it. And both of them, they had like the most passion towards kind of like working out and everything like that. And they got the ideals and everything about it. Like, I mean, like between Bruce Lee and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, you can go to other people's stuff, not saying that they don't have good information, but like they kind of are like, you're going to argue with these two guys? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also one of those things where I'm just kind of wondering this, and if it did happen, I totally would not blame him because it's just age. There's those points in Arnold Schwarzenegger's life, like when he was in office and right out of office, he clearly wasn't working out as much, understandably, because he was a politician. So he was starting to get kind of like, he was getting a little saggy, he was starting to put on some extra weight, and then once he was done with that, he kind of clearly started working out again, got back into better shape again. But, and I get it. It's first off, he has a new job that keeps him pretty busy. Secondly, he's also he's older. So I wonder if we would have seen that point with Bruce Lee where he started to suddenly just kind of like, fuck it, you know what? What does ice cream taste like?
You never know. You know what I mean? Might have got to that. It's sort of like,
also see him though just being one of those dudes so dedicated. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's like almost like, once again, we can always use sort of Jackie Chan as our example of kind of like, I guess, the aging martial artist. I mean, there's probably other people that are like, dude, fuck you, man. I've been doing it even longer than both those guys. You're like, oh, okay, sorry. I forgot about that Shaw Brothers movie from 1954 that was really big that you did, but you know what I mean? Like, because it's almost like Jackie Chan. Because I know that, like, he's sort of like, his time in, like, the last 10 years, it's like he's still doing stunts, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm not going to do those death-defying stunts anymore. Those days, you can only do them so much.
I'm not going to, like, fall out a window, like, at age 50 by this point.
For $20. Like, back in the olden days.
I wonder if it's out there. I think it'd be very interesting to see a biopic on Jackie Chan, but like his early years. We could see like right as he's starting to get popular in the late 80s, early 90s for America and all that. But it'll be very interesting to see like this story about this dude who's just like gets kicked and falls over in a lot of movies and just keeps on doing it until he gets big,
Well, that would be such an interesting, just the Jackie, like in a sense, the Jackie Chan story, just from like, I know we're getting kind of away from Bruce Lee, but it sort of ties together, I guess. But like, you read like his autobiography, and it's just like the life that he kind of goes through at the beginning, where his like parents are like, you're kind of, you don't want to go to school, so we're just gonna drop you off at this Chinese opera. We got to sign you over though, because that's just kind of how it works. So there's new dad. And oddly, it's kind of like sort of a normal thing over there in old China. Like, so it wasn't like if you did that in America, it seems so. Like...
American kids like to run away to the circus. In China, they run away to the opera.
Yeah, so he's in this Chinese opera, and the Chinese opera really is just so grueling and so like almost like it's so anti-American at the end of the day, because you just kind of read it, and you're like, there's no way that like even in the 1960s and what have you, it would have been so like against like everything in America, but like almost at the same time, because of that grueling and because of that hard old school training, you know what I mean, and what have you, and kind of discipline and punishment and all that stuff. I really think you have to sort of have that in order to get Jackie Chan. Like, you don't get that with like all the crap he had to sort of go through makes Jackie Chan like the amazing person he is. You know what I mean? And even Jackie Chan said too, he's like, the thing is like you can't do it this way anymore, because it's it's like can't beat a child and do all these things like that. He was like, here's the thing though, people in the opera just not as good as they used to be. Just gonna say it, they'll never be as good.
They don't have that fear of the beating stick if they don't hit that right octave.
Yep, and it's one of those things like that, and it's like even Jackie Chan, even like his book, he's like, as much as I hated Master, I also loved him. Like, has like that weird kind of like back and forth. The
anime kind of like, he is my enemy, yet I am not the same without him.
Did you say Aunt May?
Anime.
All I pictured was just like Aunt May behind fucking closed doors, just like, okay, Peter, you spilt the fucking peanut butter again, and guess what? Ants fucking came in the house. Guess what? Aunt May's a little fucking pissed.
The fucking
killed her fucking husband. Yes, you fucking did. I didn't fucking want you in here, but he said you're fucking family, so we gotta take you in. No, Aunt May, not again.
Director's cut. We missed the scene with like Tobey Maguire with a car battery strapped to his nuts.
Just like, and then on the outside, it's like she's like the nicest person ever.
They had to reshoot that scene. Like, like, Uncle Ben died. Like, it was your fault, wasn't it? You fucking did it. I know it was you. You reek of failure, Peter.
You're out just fucking stealing fucking chocolate milk. I fucking know it.
If you didn't steal that fucking chocolate milk, maybe your Uncle Martin Sheen Ben wouldn't have died.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He was out there looking for you. He knew you were out there fucking trying to get a chocolate milk from somebody. You know, he was afraid you're going to be out there blowing a guy in the corner for it. But you know what? Guess not. I guess you just steal it like a fucking hoodlum.
You know, when they did the Sam Raimi ones, they made Aunt May a bitch. We thought they were going to drop that by the time they got to the Andrew Garfield ones. But no, they held it.
No, they fucking carried it on. But yeah. I don't know. I can't remember how this guy. It was Jackie Chan and
Jackie Chan, and how, like, I guess Bruce Lee, though, he probably had to. What made him probably so dedicated is probably wanting to get out of where he was, because, you know, he was a kid getting into street fights, trying to, like, get by during that time, just getting done with, like, you know, probably just roughly just coming out of Japanese occupation around that time.
Yeah, I think that's always the big, because, you know, even like in this movie too, it's like mostly all the bad guys also do karate. I guess even the good guys do too, but you know what I mean? Like, it's weird because this movie, you think about it, like everybody's mostly doing karate but Bruce Lee. I don't think anybody's like, they're all mostly doing Japanese martial arts. I'm trying to think of some other guys there. I guess, well, Han, but
I think there was like a faint, I think there was probably like a karate, I don't know this for a fact, but I think there was a karate fad in America around that time, but they're probably, you know what, a lot of Americans probably don't know the fucking difference, so.
Well, because even like, you know, the special features be like, you know, Bruce Lee was doing all that karate fucking shit, and it's just like, oh, Bruce Lee probably hates when you say it. Like that.
Well, there's also, he had a little bit of a fear that what they were going to do is re-edit it in a way where John Saxon was the main character and he was just the sidekick. Which, look at the movie, you probably
just he's that. Just fucking Bruce Lee's just fucking redub like, gee willikers, John.
Like, they're afraid they're gonna David Carradine his ass or something. So
yeah.
It's one of those things, because that's what happened. He had like a bad, because, you know, for those who don't know, I think now it's almost common knowledge, but for those who don't know, not to sound like a condescending dick.
It's common fucking knowledge. Like, shit, you're born.
How do you not know this? No,
you're born and they fucking tell you right off the bat, you know what? Bruce Lee was supposed to be in Kung Fu.
Yeah, not to be a dick. Yeah, I wasn't trying to sound condescending or nothing, but yeah, he was supposed to be the star of Kung Fu, and he and like a producer that he liked came up with the idea for it, and then David Carradine, like, well, we think we could sell it more with a white dude doing Kung Fu, so here he is. And I think that show would have been so much cooler with I mean, I still like it, but I think it would have been so much cooler with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, like, Kung Fu Western, you know? But,
well, it's just so weird, because, like, the concept of that show is that, like, it's based on a real-life guy from China, well, at least the original kind of concept is. And it's the guy who pretty much, like, united fucking Chinese, like, railroad workers and sort of, like, said, like, yo, we're not gonna fucking take it anymore, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, shit, get some, like, Twisted Sister play in the background for your trailer. So, it's one of those ones, like, it just seems so weird. I mean, like, at that time period, just, like, that's literally called, like, you got fucking cold feet, is what happened there at the last second.
Yeah. And so he was afraid that was going to happen again. That's one of the reasons why he went to China in the first place. Oh, shit, here they like me, and I'm respected. So maybe I can do more shit here. So that's why he was kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'll put Hollywood on the back burner for a while. And he was afraid that was going to happen again. And watching the trailer to this movie, the American trailer, it almost feels kind of like the three of them, John Saxon, Jim Kelly, and Bruce Lee, it feels like they all got kind of equal like stardom in the thing to some degree if you watch that trailer. And then but maybe knowing it's about Bruce Lee kind of leads in, like, but having Bruce Lee be in the opening scene, that right there makes it his movie. So yeah,
and then that was Bruce Lee's, like, main thing is, like, I gotta make sure I have that opening scene, you know what I mean? As long as I got the opening scene, people know that, like, oh shit, this is what we're in for.
Well, just the way it feels, because even, like, Jim Kelly's character, because he's just a guy, you feel bad for Jim Kelly when he dies, just because he was a guy who, man, I just got done with a 5-way. I just want to go outside and stretch my legs for a second. No big deal. And then he sees Bruce Lee running by, like, okay, whatever, cool. And then, like, you're going to tell me who it was. Like, well, first off, I can't see him, because he was on in the fucking distance. It was dark. And on top of that, screw you, Mr. Handman, whatever, fuck you, it's bullshit. Like, you know, coming from, like, when he gets pulled over, at the beginning, he leaves because he had to beat the shit out of some cops who were just fucking with him. So he's like, I'm not telling no one anything now.
The cops are like, he's going to China. Yeah, fucking right. I like when they go like, well, where's China at? They're like, oh, it's next to Hawaii. Like, great fucking directions there. I mean, I guess he's not really wrong, but there's also a grand distance of ocean between those two that's bigger than like any continent.
A few more things to pop up before then, yeah.
It's not. I love that description. Like, it's next to Hawaii.
That dog comes, just pulls one of them away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
I do like Jim Kelly's like fucking karate school, like where it's good. There's like
the whole Black Power thing going on.
Well, it's got Black Power, but like I love the guy who's like the master there, and he's just like kind of got the balding haircut with like sort of the afro to the sides. Like that guy just looks fucking tough and cool.
Well, there's the guy with the Rastafarian hat, and I think the whole concept of that, maybe I'm wrong, because I don't really go too deep into it, but I think it's kind of like, yeah, there's the whole Black Power thing because of the time and all that, but I think it all makes sense, because like, yo, cops might try to pull you over and start some shit. We're going to teach you some fucking karate. Yeah. So, it kind of had that, because they had like a lot of the fist up and like on the posters and all that. I just think that's a cool concept for like, if you ever get pulled over by a racist cop, here's what you do.
Who thinks you're going to Hawaii too?
So I was a little upset to see that he was like, of all of them, that he was the one to die. Because I'd much rather, I still liked Roper, the John Saxon character, and he was interesting. But I did like Jim Kelly's character, Williams, more, Well,
it just sounds interesting, the fact that, like, because I just picture if it was sort of reversed, and you had Jim Kelly, and you have that scene where, like, Han's like, hey, come see my secret lair. Bet you're wondering why I'm showing you this. I almost feel like it'd be almost more interesting for the fact that he's being like, hey, Williams, I want you to be my right-hand man in America. What do you say? Like, I just almost feel like that would be almost more interesting. I mean, it's weird as it technically works both ways, but that also would be a more like, that's kind of a cool way to go about it.
Well, it's two things. Jim Kelly, I guess, he was originally written to survive, so if he survived, it would have made sense, but it's just like, I feel bad for him just because, him as an actor, just because it's like, dude, I saw how he fought Bruce Lee later in the movie. He could have taken him. The way he was fighting earlier on in the movie, and the way how he dies to Han, he totally could have taken Han. The way he was fighting Bruce Lee earlier.
Well, he does get that bird that flies in his face, and that's kind of what distracts him.
Yeah, he does that, and he doesn't know that he's fighting a guy with a metal hand. He's like, what the fuck? Because at some point he punches him. He's like, fuck, what the, And then you're like, oh, metal hand. Which I will say, when he falls into the room with those ladies on drugs, that part, I'm not gonna, like, they're on some reefer madness shit. This has had to be that point when they still didn't know, like, I've seen, like, like Woodstock footage, and I've heard about these fucking hippies, and they're just like, what do? I think they laugh and just smoke. So, because they do that thing where they just like, what? That's not weed they're on. I don't think it's even fucking, like, mushrooms.
Well, I think they're supposed to be on, like, opium and so on, heroin. Well, it's funny because
heroin doesn't make you laugh, that's for damn sure.
That scene right there is they're all like hookers because they're like the producer was saying on like the thing, he's like, yo, yeah, apparently in China actors don't want to just play a hooker. So I guess we had to go get actual hookers and try writing that off on your tax return. But so that was the only way they could like get it, because they're just like, because like it was funny because like I was listening to like the audio commentary, it just had that thing that like it's just like, oh, these every once in a while there's just these weird fucking Chinese things I just don't fucking get. It's just like, like, come on, like, I'm just asking you to do this, and then they got a cultural thing, and mostly the way that we'd fix that cultural thing is we'd say, Bruce, make this fucking happen, and then everyone would listen to Bruce.
Well, Bruce just shoots him that stare.
Yeah, exactly. Was one.
There's no camera, but for some reason, when he'd shoot him that stare, they would get an instant zoom in on his eyes. But he just had that effect on people.
Yeah, it's funny too. But that scene is just like, they're like, yeah, it's like that was like one of our most expensive scenes because they were paid by the hour.
Well, that whole part where they get thrown in there, like where he gets that whole thing of like, it's vital that when he gets knocked out, he lands in a room full of opium-addicted hookers. But at the same time, though, I'll say that I think the whole reason, because they don't really speak on it so much, they just kind of present it. But I think putting the parts together, like Roper's not there because of his raw skill. I think Roper is there because he's a con man. So he's like, well, you know what? He's a con man. And he's a con man that knows martial arts. I can use that to my advantage. So that's the reason why I think he's showing him all this shit. Like, look at this. We're making opium soup today, you know? And then we get down to Jim Kelly. It's like, well, Jim Kelly could have... You were having that whole scene with Jim Kelly. It would have just been like, oh, you're just so good at martial arts. You're my right-hand man. You can run my... Like you said, you can run my American division.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they would have changed it around probably. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense for his character. But it still would be interesting to see it kind of go the other way around and whatnot. But yeah, like...
I like how... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you continue on.
I liked how bored... I mean, apparently in real life the snake bit him. But when he got that cobra, I like how bored he looked when he just tossed the snake into that, like... He came across the snake. He says, what the fuck's that? You know, I'm taking this fucking thing. I don't know what I'm going to need it for. I might need it later. And then later he just comes across that radio room. He just tosses it in there. I love, guy's like, oh, fuck!
I love that reaction that the guy has. He does that, like, that double take. Like, there's a fucking snake on this cobra on the ground.
And Bruce Lee could not look more bored, just sitting there leaning back.
I like how Bruce Lee did all his stunts with a real cobra. That's just because he's fucking Bruce Lee.
Well, the cobra was devenomed, but at the same time... You can't, like, have all that big badass talk and then all of a sudden, like, get Bruce a stunt man, which maybe he had, like, one stunt man for if it's like a long fall or some shit, but, you know, it's like at least 99% Bruce if that's the case. Yeah. But there's that one story here. I want to say it was an interview with his wife, and there was some young guy who kept on talking shit to Bruce Lee on the set. And Bruce kept on ignoring it, to the point where he's like, you know what? People are going to think this is true if I don't do something or say something. He says, hey, why don't you come over here? And he, like, doesn't, like, just flat out knock the shit out of the kid, but just basically, like, beats a little bit of respect into him, I guess. You know, he kind of, like, he, like, firmly, like, presents how to do a fight and, like, has a brief little sparring thing with him. In a way, like, okay, here's me sparring with you. I could have just fucked you up. But I didn't, because I'm fucking nice.
Yeah, just really fucking shows him up, you know, just to make him fucking stop. And I know that was always the biggest thing, is because I think that's like, it probably happens on all. I bet you everybody fucking deals with that. Maybe it's not as bad now as it used to be, but I bet you Donnie Yen has that same problem. Same with Jet Li. That people
Tony
always
Jaa.
fucking come up. Yeah, Tony. They always come up to you and fucking like want to like dick around with you or something like that. That's probably like the martial art actors like. Biggest problem is people coming up to you trying to fight you. I bet you that's probably the worst thing that happens, because it probably happens so often too.
Because you got all the extras who are there to, like, you know, maybe just fall down in the background, like, this should be me up there.
Yeah, it should be me. I'm so much more than an extra.
I mean, well, Jackie Chan was falling down and getting kicked in the face for how many years before he became a star?
Yeah, exactly. You know. So it's, you know, I guess you do just sort of work your way through and do all the kind of like the crap work and so on. But yeah, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think everybody kind of has those arguments with it. It's like, oh, this guy's not that fucking good, you know? Yeah. I'm fucking 19 fucking years old. I know what I'm fucking doing. Like, he's like 31. He's like fucking senior citizen practically.
He's old as fuck, yeah. That's that thing.
Coming out in a wheelchair.
I actually had a little bit of going to that. You said, like, he's 31. At my new job, there was a younger guy, and he didn't know how old I was, and he was a younger guy. He was kind of talking out his ass a little bit, and he said something to the effect of, like, you know, he's like 21, 22, and he's just like, I mean, when you're 30, you might as well be a boomer, right? Just something like that. And then somehow it came up in conversation, like, 5 minutes later, like, oh, you're 33? Okay. Not from me, but he happened to hear that conversation. Oh, fuck.
It's almost like a compliment, though, at the same time, too, because he always, like, it said that you still looked youthful.
It says I still look youthful, but, yeah.
He's like, you know...
Apparently I need a...
He's like, you know, we're not in our 30s, you know, like me and Ryan here, fucking, you know, represent youth and culture, and...
Yeah, well, it's like one of those things also looking at it, just like, okay, yeah, there's that. But
I like how he threw the 30-year-old in the fucking baby boomer category. It's like, fucking same thing.
Let me show you how math works. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck, you know, what, Ryan? You went to Vietnam? No.
I went to Nam. Yeah.
Didn't even go to Gulf War, if that's what you're wondering.
Yeah. I actually had a little bit of that, like 6 years previously. not 6 years, but like 4 years previously. My old bike job, there was like a girl who just got hired fresh out of high school, and I was just helping them set up a booth over at like Fisherman's Wharf, and a song off of Stadium Arcadium came on like the radio over there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh shit, like what? Oh, just the song reminds me of high school. And then she looks at me, she's like, why does it remind you of high school? I'm like, because this came out the year I graduated. She's like, oh, damn. She's like, were you sad when Kurt Cobain died? I'm like, I was like 3 when he died. When I was sad when I found out about it later, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like one of those ones where it's just like, oh shit, you know. Well, that's where I always remember. I think of like when there was a little kid and he looked at me like, you know, like a kid would look at their grandfather when he's telling stories of World War II or One or what have you, and just to the point where he's like, Spencer, what was PS1 like?
Gather around, child. Let me tell you the tale. As you like grab your walking stick and crouch down to him.
You know, can you believe it? But we didn't have thumbsticks yet. No thumbsticks. You know, it wasn't until the N64 came and someone decided, you know what we need? Is a stick for your thumb. What an ingenious idea, but I kid you not though. We got the stick and we didn't really know what to do with it. It was weird. It was different. But we had to make it work because they wouldn't allow you to play games without it.
And he's just like, it didn't really happen until PlayStation 2.
And I still was like, I dare not use your thumbsticks. I know you want me to use them, but, you know, not everything has to be Ape Escape.
It was when they brought Time Splitters on me.
Yes, and I realized I needed another joystick. I didn't know I needed one yet, but I did. Just be like, wow, you sound really fucking old, man. yes, maybe I do now. I think it's the life we live. But yeah, so poor Bruce Lee always even had to deal with that, even towards there. It's weird how that sort of is. It's just like that jump. It's that weird thing that like I used to always say that like it seems about like when you hit about like age 25, like 25 to 55. It feels like you're all in the exact same fucking like limbo of life. It doesn't feel like things are really different. But like when you're
probably
like,
not to 55-year-olds. 55-year-olds be like, fuck this 25-year-old kid.
Probably, but like I don't know what it is. Like maybe I'll say 45. Maybe like that. Like it just seems like there's like this 20-year range or so that like I don't know. It's not you don't feel that much different from each other. Like it's like almost like even there could be a 20-year gap, and you're like, I don't know. It oddly doesn't feel as weird. But this for some reason that like 19 to like 25 just feels like that's so fucking different. Like you know what I mean? Like an entire war has passed in that time frame. Like
yeah. There's that.
But god damn it, fucking Enter the Dragon.
Back to this though.
If it's not just
can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. Like as I said, like it's probably as far as Bruce Lee movies go. Like I don't think I like it more than the first 2 Bruce Lee ones. But that's not really. It's still totally awesome though. It's like one of those ones that every time you throw it on, you're immediately locked in, and it's just like, oh, dude, this movie's so fucking sick. And one of the only odd things I could see that if you did show it to somebody who maybe had never seen it before, but they watched Mortal Kombat. And they watched, you know, even like the Tekken and Dead or Alive and other things that kind of did the Enter the Dragon style. I could see it almost having that effect where, like, when they go back to this one, they go like, well, I feel like I've already seen this before. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I wonder that could sort of happen.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like that is such... and it depends on how much you like those movies, because even though we might like Mortal Kombat and whatnot, a lot of other people still kind of look down on that shit, so they might not even, like... First off, maybe not even seen it. Also, maybe like, oh, it's a video game movie. I don't have to take that one seriously. So they see this, like maybe it's like, oh, it has the, I don't know, maybe kind of like the 70s, maybe the 70s-ness and the rawness of it might actually kind of work in its favor. Because sometimes there are those things. I'm not sure if we said this in the podcast or something else, but sometimes you get those things like John Carter, where it's just like, movie's not perfect, but at the same time, it's inspired so many things. Princess of Mars did. So it's kind of like hard to, you know, here's the thing that inspired that. Like, I think we should maybe talk about this last podcast, like in Valerian or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Or it's kind of like, it's almost like Death Wish is another example that, like, if you see a bunch of revenge movies and then you kind of go, you go back, it's like it's not going to seem nearly as big of a deal if you've already seen all these other things that kind of took from it. But I get that's like the first one you sort of see. Like I'm kind of like grateful that Enter the Dragon is one of the like probably the early kung fu movies I saw, other than like 90s kids styled ones, you know what I mean, and whatnot. Like as far as I guess you would say the adult kung fu movies, this one was kind of it. I mean that there might have only been a couple other Jet Li / Jackie Chan movies that I would have saw, but like it all kind of came together, right? Boom, 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 right then and there. Because if this was like if this was like your 100th kung fu movie you saw, it might not stand out as much. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on your frame of mind and how open you are, but.
I wouldn't even put this in in all honesty, top Bruce Lee movies, probably like number 2 or 3. Top martial arts movies of all time, maybe like somewhere in the top 10 or 15, maybe. It's more of like, for me, I mean, I gotta kind of a lot of my favorite ones are just more like the raw, because this one, they also come up with the excuse for why is nobody pulling a gun out in modern day, which is a reason why they didn't do a lot of modern day martial arts films back then. So, I mean, I probably like, I know I like Ong Bak, Way of the Dragon, Fearless more than this movie. But that's not to say this movie's bad by any means. It's just there's so many martial arts movies, it just feels a little tame compared to other ones. But it's still a fantastic movie.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, this is like the international, worldwide, like gateway film. At the end, this kind of opens up the doors and like lets things kind of happen and what have you, and brings out the that first wave, I guess you would say, of martial arts movies into like America and beyond. Mm-hmm. So like no matter what, that's always like kind of the big deal of it, and it is one of those ones. It's like ultimately it's totally classic. Like everything about it it's solid from beginning to end. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you're going to start kind of getting your preferences for certain ones and what have you. And it's like the deeper you fall down the rabbit hole, you find all those kind of weird martial arts ones, or you find those ones where it's like, dude, look, this movie's fucking sick. But like, the whole thing is, I think it's like that Bruce Lee one is like his movies, like, they're almost kind of simple signs compared to some of the, like, the stuff we get nowadays. And granted, everything's stacked on top of it. It's always like, how do you one up the guy before you? But it's one of those ones, like, they're just like how solid they are just from beginning to end, no matter what. And just like, they're just great fucking classic films, and you could always throw them on. I think that's the thing. It's just like one of those ones, like, Jackie Chan has 100 movies, and don't get me wrong, like so many of those ones are great too. But like Bruce Lee, it's like in those like solid main 4.5, I guess you could almost kind of say, they're just so good, just as is. And I think that's sort of like what stands out. It's easy when it's a smaller number. Sometimes it's just like you got this like fucking Star Wars, quad trilogy. Mm-hmm. Of films.
I mean, yeah, I was drawing a blank on other kung fu movies from earlier martial arts movies, like Drunken Master, Ip Man. Like those are better than this, of course. But
yeah, I mean, Drunken Master, I think might be my all-time favorite kung fu movie. The original.
It's up there for me. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it's up there for me. I got to watch that one again. And Protector, of course, is awesome. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, and funny you say The Protector, because then there's that movie. It's called The Protector with Jackie Chan, and it has Robert Klaus, the director of Enter the Dragon, and it's that one that Jackie Chan did, where pretty much it's the one where Jackie Chan says "fuck" for one, so that's already a big deal. But it's kind of like a hard edge, like Dirty Harry style Jackie Chan. So of course Jackie Chan doesn't like it, but I think it's very interesting.
I have to check that one out because I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a fun one. I got the special edition version, which there's 2 versions of it, because there's a Jackie Chan edited version, and then there's the American edited version.
He wanted to be the funnier guy, I guess, in that one, probably. He probably didn't want to be as grittier.
Yeah, he took out the swearing and the nudity, and then he added more kung fu, because he didn't think there was enough.
That's weird. I wonder what he thinks, because there's like a movie like Mr. Nice Guy, which is a comedy, but the beginning of the movie, there's like a girl, like... In the beginning of the movie, there's like, you see some girl, like hot girl in a bikini, talking to a mob boss. I go, hi. He grabs her by the back of the fucking hair, then takes her out to like some fucking quarry, throws her down the ditch, and they just drop hot asphalt on top of her. And then he's like, and then we cut to Jackie Chan making like noodles on television. Like, you're like, I don't know. I say fuck. I don't know if I can get by that.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was so weird too, because it's just like it's that thing too. I mean, I know Jackie Chan always kind of likes to have his movies in the PG-13 realm, but it just felt like, yeah, like see, that's always the weird slippery slope, is where you say I don't want to do this, but then it makes it kind of wonder, well, isn't this in kind of the same ballpark? But I don't know.
We kill a half-naked woman with asphalt at the beginning of this movie, but I don't like saying fuck in this one.
Yeah, exactly. And those ladies mixing drugs, they should be in full fucking science gear, not fucking naked. It's just like, Jackie, it's the 80s. It's America. They expect this. You know what I mean? Like, an action movie needs to have some naked chicks in it at some point for no fucking reason, because it never has a reason.
Well, even like in, Magnum
and you
Force.
Gotta say fuck.
Like if
say fuck all the time. I mean, shit. You see the fucking dub of Appleseed we just did.
Well, in Magnum Force, like the second Dirty Harry movie, if someone gets naked in that movie, they die.
Yeah.
If a pair of tits comes out, someone pops up with a machine gun and just mows down the whole party for some reason.
Yeah, just like put those titties away.
That movie's so fucking over. I love that movie.
That's my favorite Dirty Harry one. Is that one too?
That's the best. That's probably the best Dirty Harry movie, but it's so overkill in some scenes, just because it's like there's the one like they're going in for this one guy. They miss the guy. They hit the chick, and she gets shot up a few times, falls out a window, fucking lands on a car. Jesus fuck.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like, I don't know, I like the idea of just seeing Jackie Chan do a Dirty Harry-like role. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's different, you know what I mean? Like, to see kind of this, badass, or Jackie Chan's always badass, but like, more of a hard-edged Jackie Chan, like, I mean, why not? I think it's one of those ones, maybe it's like, I could see also at that time period when you're trying to do your thing and nobody's letting you do your thing enough. I could see that being a problem, but I think in like hindsight is, I think it's kind of cool to have that. It's like, oh, here's something where Jackie Chan's doing something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like watching Pink Cadillac with Clint Eastwood. Be like, oh, he's a rodeo clown in this one. What?
I just figured I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, it's like that's like the one where he does like weird character acting, but that's awesome. But that's beyond the Enter the Dragon. No matter what, go ahead and check out Enter the Dragon if you haven't seen it, or if it's been a while, go check it out again because it's one of those ones. Like shit, I felt like I hadn't watched this movie in like 8 years or something, so it was like totally awesome to go back to it. But yeah, fun stuff to be had. Other than that, go to oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comic books like Pizza Boys, and all that other fun jazz. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Sure, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, animation, and a whole lot more. We also have the Old Man Orange blog going with all kinds of fun stuff. If you easily want to support the show, use one of our Amazon links either on the website or in the description of the podcast below. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show either on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Newgrounds, or anywhere else that you seem to get this podcast from. Grab the sitcom-styled comic book Pizza Boys on either Comics Central, Comixology, or Amazon. Want more podcasts? Check out the Indie Comics Club over at Comics Central. I also got a workout website called Thor's Hidden Gym, filled with fitness tips and tricks, videos, and a whole lot more fun stuff in the calisthenics world. Talk to us on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes and Dunnigan Ryan. Like our Facebook pages of Old Man Orange Productions and Pizza Boys Comic. Thanks again. We're out of here.